Hello everyone and happy Friday. Welcome to the 34th edition of our Cardano Developers Office Hours. I'm Lisa. I will be your host for today's sessions. So just before you dive in, I have two things to share. So you're entering the final days to register for the Layer Hackathon. The deadline is now extended to the 2nd of November, and you can join either online or in person in Berlin. So that's going to be on the Web3 Hub for the last 24 hours. The hackathon runs from November 3rd to the 11th with two tracks. So you have one, the Cardano General, and then you have another one about Masumi. And the total prize pool, it's going to be $30,000. And also you have a mentorship from engineers from Bloxbeam, Cardano Foundation, Masum, and Mashi. It starts from next week on the online sessions. I have dropped the link on the chat, so in case if you want to check it out. And then the second thing is that our Cardano Academy is offering 100% discount voucher for the CBC XL. So if you're looking to get certified, make sure to sign up, get the promo code that's in the chat, and then I wish all the success on that. And now let's move into today's spotlight session. So you're thrilled to welcome Paolo, Pavel, and Arno from the Cardano Foundation HAL team. They walk us through how Moog and MPFS, how they are being used to test stress Cardano on-chain and beyond. So without further ado, Arno, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Dalisa. Thank you for having us. I will give a quick intro on what we have been doing on this, but the meat of the presentation is about showing actual learning software. So Paolo and Pavel, who have been doing the actual work on this, I just get the ID. We'll do the actual presentation. So a little bit of context. I'm going to share my screen and show you a couple of things. We don't have any slides. It's all about software and all about code. So we're trying to stick to that. We have been since April this year. We have been working with and exploring how we could use a tool called Antithesis for testing Cardano network of nodes, and we have had some. The initial work was promising, so we went on deciding that we wanted to generalize this tool to other to make it possible for others within the ecosystem to use it, and. Therefore, we thought a bit about it, and we thought that it would be probably a good idea to see how we could use Cardano, the network itself, as a way to mediate interaction with this platform. So Antithesis is a large platform, which is your traditional SaaS software. But we don't want to keep it just for the foundation, which was we were the initial users and proof of concept, and some people in the room were pretty instrumental in getting that off the ground. But we want to make it useful for the whole community, and therefore we thought that, well, what's better than using Cardano itself as a way to test Cardano, and that's how Moog came into being. So Moog is actually the tool we built within the team to provide some kind of interface to the Antithesis system that would be easier to use, and that could be widely used within the community without requiring everyone to have a particular subscription or to require some kind of authorization with the Antithesis platform itself. And therefore, we built this command line interface, and to build the command line interface and to make sure that it interacts with the chain, we had to build we wanted to build it on Cardano, and therefore we had to use some other components and build some of them. So and we tried to find a solution, and this solution we found in the Cardano in the form of the Merkle Patricia Forestry library, which is a smart contract that allows one to track on chain in a very succinct and compact way changes to some to a Merkle tree, and I guess we can give some more detailed explanations. It turns out that Moog, which you can see the website on the screen, so there is some documentation which we will go a bit into. It turns out this idea is actually quite useful, and we had some hands-on experiments and hands-on experience with people outside of the team, and we had a workshop in Toulouse in September where people from different teams building nodes and working around the various kind of nodes trying to use it, and we had very good feedback from the people who managed to get to the point where they have a software that can be tested. We had good feedback, and they actually, we think that's an interesting solution to ease and lower the barrier of entry to be able to use the platform. And it turns out that we also think that it's the general technology, the various pieces of technology that we have been working and using and stitching together to make this project live and usable are actually interesting and would be interesting for other kind of usage. And we are already thinking about various extensions or different use cases, but we are really seeking for people interested in helping us and who want to use that. And the gist of it is that we are basically using the blockchain for what it's good at, is to reliably track and maintain an audit trail and traceability to access an expensive and sophisticated resource across a permissionless ecosystem with as few friction as possible. And the only friction being that, you have to have a Cardano wallet and some ADAs to be able to run the transaction, but that's basically all. I guess you would be interested in this project if you are actively building components that are run on Cardano. If you are building even dApps that require some kind of integrity and consistency, then you might really have an interest into using this tool. I guess that's for the context of the presentation. Without further ado, I will leave the stage now to Paulo, who will give us a bit more details about what the project is about, and then we get some demos. Paulo?
Yeah. I have some slides. They're quite old, maybe they are outdated, and they are also many. But I will try to follow them. So this is more or less what we wanted at the beginning. We want to track authentication, authorization of users for Antithesis, and also make sure that all the interaction between users and Antithesis is in the end controlled by an application, and this application then is responsible for registering everything that happens on chain. So that was the goal. We started from scratch, so we had to take decision about technology. And this is the technology that we choose. As Arnaud mentioned, we choose this Merkle Patricia Forestry to store facts. We will see later what they are. In our case, we have a zoo of them that we are storing, and then also the Merkle Patricia Forestry is a library, so it's not like a smart contract in itself. So we have also to develop a smart contract around that, and for some technical reason and non-technical reason as well, we decided to track the life cycle of MPF tokens, and I use token here like a buzzword. So, but like the concept is that each Merkle Patricia Forestry is a database in itself, and we needed one. But the technology that we use is actually to manage multiple ones. And what we wanted for the smart contract is to prove that when you have this Merkle Patricia Forestry in your hand, all the changes that happen to this database of facts have been sitting on the blockchain. So everything that happened actually went on chain, and not only went on chain, we can prove with the smart contract that nothing else is part of this database, which comes useful or very useful if you want to refer to these facts from other smart contracts, or use it like to prove something about what's going on, or what went on and was registered and traced. So as a corollary to this choice, we needed to actually make it possible to see what is happening on chain on this Merkle Patricia Forestry, because the facts and the changes that happen on the database, they end up in the history of the blockchain because they are consumed UTXO. And so we need like an indexer that actually remembers what happened. And so we develop also MPFS, which is an HTTP service over these MPF tokens. So it store and serve MPF facts. So it remembers what happened. And if you ask, hey, what are the facts of this Merkle Patricia Forestry, you can get them from this. And compute and serve transactions so that you can interact with this MPF tokens, and then and the transactions, they are mostly serving two roles. So we decided that each database actually is owned by one entity or one agent, and we call it Oracle just as a name, and then all the rest of the users, so that they contribute to the facts. They are called users, and so they need to insert, delete, and update facts and all of the database operation that we expect. And then when this backend was there, we had to decide about the front end, and the front end is kind of driven by the application. The application was for the developers, so we decided the front end is a CLI. And because we are storing complex data, we decide to use JSON, particularly canonicalized JSON, so hashes are stable. And then we needed authentication and authorization for users, and also the test assets. So what do you want to test? So all this stuff, we decided that GitHub was the right platform to store users and roles, and so we use GitHub as a backend for people to produce their values. So then we dig into a little bit what are these facts. So for our special MPF, which is like the Antithesis interaction MPF, and so we store usernames, so GitHub usernames, along with encrypting keys and signing keys. It's not SSH, sorry, it's a bit old. And then we have also roles. Roles are kind of which GitHub user can create test for a specific repository. That's a role. And then we have to store all the test run states. So if the test run is pending, accepted, rejected, or finished with the results. So this is another fact that we store on chain, so you can see what is going on, what is running, and what is finished, and so on. And for this front end to work, we decided we wanted 3 roles. Actually, one role is just coming because we choose MPFS, which imposed that the Oracle role is there. And then we have other 2 roles. One is the requester of the test run, so user of GitHub that they want to run test. But then we have another role, which is the agent, or what we think of like think of someone who has the key to access the Antithesis platform and can say, okay, start this test, and also monitor the results of the test and get them back to the user. So yeah, this is like in depth what is going on. So a requester can register itself or another user and register a role and create tests, and also then small aspects. The URL of the results is encrypted so that it is on chain, but only the requester can actually look at the results of the test run. And then we have obviously the powerful agent that is the one controlling access to Antithesis, and it has to whitelist and blacklist repository, reject, accept, and report results. And also obviously this off-chain operation, pushing a test and collecting the results. The Oracle role, so the third role, the Oracle role, is fully automated, which means like there is no human intervention. Instead, for the agent for accessing the Antithesis the Antithesis service, we have a little manual operation, which is whitelisting and blacklisting a repository to control who has access to the resource. Yeah, and then everyone and all the other people in the world, because the blockchain is public, they can use they can use Moog to actually see what is going on. So they can see what are the parameters of the Oracle, they can see the user register, they can see the roles and whitelist the repository and all the test run that have been run or they are running and so on, and not the results because they are encrypted. Yeah, the final slide is about cryptography. So we have small cryptography things. So anyone who is participating with Moog is actually signing transactions. So MPFS is producing transaction. MPFS, they can decide to run it locally or use a public MPFS instance, but the signature, they are done locally by the CLI. And the agent role encrypts the URL of the results. So this is necessary to prevent that the public can see all the results, because sometimes they could be sensitive, whatever. And then the requester role has two critical cryptographic operations. One is signing the test run. When they start the test, they have to prove that they are who they say they are on GitHub. And then because the URL of the results is encrypted by the agent, they have to decrypt it. And so this is cryptography. And I guess that's it.
Yeah, so we've got the following situation. There is MPFS somewhere deployed. There was a contract, smart contract created that is very specific and kind of serves antithesis purposes. So we've got token, right, somewhere. And we've got the users and agent roles. So I will try to walk you through how it's, what is the experience of using this system. Because we've got some lags, I kind of recorded things and will move forward, slow down, things like that. But of course, I will focus on giving a proper comments. So let's start with a user. Is a blank slate and wants to create a wallet, right? And it is possible. As Paulo said, we've got a CLI that is kind of sophisticated because it serves both requester, agent. You can see token, you can see packs. So you can basically inspect all the points of the system. So this is very important that everything is going to be approached from this way. So we are starting from creating the wallet, right? So we created a wallet, and as you see, there is a address there. It's encrypted. There is some kind of owner ID, and there is a public key, which is very important because this public key is going to be used later. But basically, from the wallet, we need address, and this public key. The wallet is encrypted, as I said, and it can always be decrypted, right? So we can do it from this level. Yes, as I said, the public key is going to be used, and the address needs to be funded, right? Because the system as it stands now works in testnet. So, which is evident from the address, right? Because it's address test batch 32 prefix. So one needs to fund it, because for some operations, real transactions needs to be performed. So we can do it in this testnet faucet, and it was done for this address test things. So other way we can use, query the wallet by this command, and that was the first, I would say, task, right? So we created the wallet. Right now, we are going to register ourselves, so register the user in the system. So in order to do it, we are expecting that there is some repo. There is an owner, in this case, Pavel Jakubas, so myself, and the repo with the same name. And in this repo, there is this public key I showed earlier. So this is this public key, right? So,
Pavel?
yes?
If I may, just to make it clear, this part is critical to make sure that we provide a link between what happens on chain as a user and as using your key and using keys that can be used on chain. And these keys that we are using are tied to your identity on the GitHub repository, which makes it possible to link facts, to link things which happen on chain with things which happen off chain. By the way, this is where things become interesting if you think about working with identity on chain and identity wallet, like something like Veridian, for example. And you can see that there are ties where you could imagine a world where we could use these identities from anywhere. Here we are using GitHub as because GitHub is a central hub, as the name implies, for open source. But that's definitely something we want to explore with linking with other identity sources. Sorry to intervene.
Yeah. So I basically created, cloned this repo, right? And there is this Moog wiki file with the key. So it's important when we work with this system that we need some environment variables to be set. So we need to say where this MPFS is and what is the token, right? That is embracing this antithesis activity. Also, usually we need to wait some time for transactions to be accommodated. So there is needed this kind of environment variable. But also, some activities are using GitHub AP calls. That's why we need PAT, so public access token, because we are interacting also with GitHub. So I set it up. Oh, that was a mistake, but right now it's okay. This is the explanation. This is just the command for registration, right? And when we do it, the transaction is created. And we are waiting for transaction to be accommodated. And we are expecting that this fact is going to be accorded in MPFS database, right? So it's going to be in a fax. And we can query the fax. So basically, what we expected is that it's going to be, something is going to happen in the fax. And indeed, we registered ourselves. So when we register ourselves, then we also need to register a role. And what it means basically is that a repo that contains a test contains ourselves or the user with annotation that there is a right for this user to run tests. And this is done in a code owners file. So I've got this repo test with Antithesis in my Pavel Jakubas, and I clone it. And when I look at this, I've got these co-owners, and I've got myself, right, as a value in this Antithesis key keeper. And this is the way of saying that this user has a right to invoke tests in this repo. And it's important that this is stored in a GitHub, right? So GitHub is a place that is intermediating that. So as we said, this Pavel Jakubas user is set. So once again, it's very important, we are setting the needed environmental variables. This is the same repository that's test with Antithesis. And from the command line, we are able to generate assets, which is basically test directory. And as you see, it has a very reasonable configuration as written down. And this can serve as a way, for a user to run first test, but as an inspiration how to expand it. What user needs to do it is basically to commit this stuff. And it's very important because this commit is going to be used later, this ABB, for running tests. So I think, basically, we prepared this visual tutorial how to do it. And running tests is very interesting. So I think it's the most important part. So we've got a user. Could you just stop it for a second, Paulo? So we've got a user that was registered. The role was set up, and the test was prepared. And also, what we omitted right now, but for the sake of the lack of the time, it's also important that there is also a role for an agent to whitelist the repo, because agent is someone that is guarding basically the access to this Antithesis, which is very valuable resource, and not all the repos can run things. Agent is gives access basically, but whitelisting the repo. And whitelisting the repo is also one command, of course, if someone has credentials for agent. So the repo was whitelisted, and we are going on. So please, Paulo. So we are having all the things done, and as we said, we are registered, crawl, and test, and we can check it everything, but looking at the facts. So users, we are having Pavel Jakubas. Come on, we can go on. We've got roles. Yes, Pavel Jakubas was given a role, right? Proper role. And the third fact is that this repo was whitelisted. Basically this is this one, right? So Moog facts whitelist. We've got this test with Antithesis. It was whitelisted, right? So it's a repo that can run tests. Okay, so we can go on, please, Paulo. So we are good, right? When we look at the repo, right, once again, we've got this test dir. And as I underlined, there is this commit that is very important. So Paulo, please continue right now, right? So we got log and this ABB commit hash, basically is going to be used. So if you could run it, right? So we are going to reuse this commit because this is going to be run, right? So we are, this is that we need to fill in a lot of things. So if someone sees this kind of message, it means that not enough information was provided. So if you could go on, right now is going to be the proper one, right? So we are specifying the wallet, right? Because transaction is going to be made, right? We are the user requester is going to incur costs, and that's why the wallet needs to be specified. The commit, of course, the repository, user, directory, where all the configs that are acceptable by Antithesis runs are there, and other smaller things right now. So if you go on, we did it, and we've got the most important things. And this is this test run ID. And this is the thing we are going to observe, right? So if you could go on, yeah, we are going to look at this. And of course, we can going to look in the facts, right? So this is what we are going to do right now. So it's not there, right? Small joke, but that ADA prefix was there, which is kind of lucky, right? But here we've got the test run accepted as a fact. Of course, it's pending. So please, we can look at this because we can prettify it. Yeah, and what is important is that this fact can also be inspected in a website, Antithesis one, and we can find this ID there. So I think it is the crucial. It was the most crucial video there. How to run tests, what is the experience. But from the user point of view, it needs to do something with his GitHub repo. Then the repo where tests are needs to accredit him, basically, give him access to run these tests. He needs to register himself, role. Repo needs to be whitelisted, and after that, he's free to try running tests. And this is the experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Pavel. Maybe if I can add before we, as a matter of conclusion, so there's a lot going on here. I guess it might be a bit hard to grok exactly what's going on, but I think the gist of it. Well, first of all, we shared quite a lot of resources. So the website is a very good resource where we try to document all this stuff and for people to get up to speed and understand how this works. I think the most important, the message, the gist of the message is that this system is really a way, and potentially a generic way, of mediating access to potentially to access to a critical, expensive, sophisticated, rare resource by on-chain, and sharing that access with various people on chain, and leveraging the chain for this access, for mediating this access. So potentially providing authorization, providing specific ways of accessing the resource, requiring interaction with external facts and external and some oracle. So that's typically, I mean, that's something that is quite often the case and quite typical of several of distributed applications and dApps, or decentralized applications. But here we are really putting it to good use for the community to access this resource, which has so far been made accessible by the foundation, and trying to and exposing all this in a way which is much more palatable for Cardano people, so that they just have to interact with the chain, provide some code and repository which they want to test, and then we mediate this access and provide an auditability and traceability property that for everyone to see what's going on and how we use this resource. And as a community-owned resource, and as I would say as a prominent member of the community, the foundation has a duty and is responsible for this resource. And we really want to make sure that this kind of resource is accessed and is completely auditable by all the community members. And it seems to us that this is potentially a feature and a way of building dApps and systems that could benefit quite a few use cases out there. As soon as you have a community, as soon as you have you need to mediate access from various in a decentralized way to some resource, and you want to provide safety, and that's basically what smart contracts are. So it's actually a good an interesting use case for smart contracts and with potentially more application. I guess that's all we have. I don't know if there are questions, remarks, and suggestions. Yeah, whatever. Feel free to shoot. I guess we are here to address questions.
I see that it says that Moog is still in the early stage and experimental.
Yeah.
So do you guys have a roadmap where you want to get, or what are the features that you want to work?
We do, actually. I guess, so our target, so right now Moog is operational on the testnet, on the pre-prod testnet. So that basically free of charge, because testnet transactions are free. I guess the software itself is already quite mature. It provides all the features we think are important for this use case. The main thing, our goal is to deploy to have Moog deployed on mainnet by end of Q1 2026, basically. This goal is requires some a bit of some work. First of all, there is the question of the funding, because it's not, the running Antithesis is not free. The license is quite expensive, so there is a question of funding. We are currently actively trying to engage with various parties interested in funding this, and potentially even across. I mean, not potentially, but we will surely submit a budget infraction and to get treasury funding for this. And this is where we'll need to target mainnet. Obviously, there is some audits to be done, some more polishing of the documentation, the interfaces, and more testing and validation from the community. So I guess our main roadmap between now and I would say April next year is really to engage with potential users, node implementers. We are already talking to people, for example, people from the building Dingo. We obviously are involved with Amaru. So Amaru will, we have plans to integrate this in our continuous integration pipeline next week or the week after. I mean, there is a summit, so it will take a bit of time. We are talking to people from Hydra. We are talking to people from the Scalers team, from, basically, and of course, we are talking with people from the Cardano core team, because our main asset so far is the Cardano node. So, but we want to make this, we want to make sure that this is useful, that it provides the required, that it fits the purpose of people wanting to test. So that's, we need more and more tests and polishing. But feature-wise, it's rather complete. I think the next roadmap is to somehow productionize or to advertise more the components that we are basing our work on, and most importantly, the MPFS, which is a key part which provides the MPFS and the smart contract capabilities and the token management thing, which is a thing that potentially could really be reused very easily by other either builders, not specifically people building core components, but builders building dApps and other kind of systems. So we want also to validate that this is potentially a useful addition to the overall system. And then more integrations with potential backends. So right now we are leveraging the Yassi store as our chain indexer and chain access storage. We are the Merkle Patricia Forestry smart contract and system is based on much has been coursework. This service is in TypeScript, so it's really usable. It's reusable very easily. We are hosting an instance for our purpose, but technically you don't need to access MPFS, an external MPFS. You could run it yourself and get all the data from your own instance. That's also a key part of ADAPT, right? You don't need to trust anyone. You can just read the chain. The chain is the ultimate source of trust. So we want to make this more accessible to other people, and yeah, that's basically where we are at.
Carlos?
Have you tried testing Justice Store with Antithesis?
Oh no, that's a very good question. So we need to do it. But I mean, the afternoons are not great for Satya. So, but I think we want to reach out also to teams inside the foundation. And that's also why I think it's important also to spread the word inside the foundation itself, because other teams would certainly benefit from it. Anyone building basically, as soon as you build some component that requires, or that either requires or provides some form of consistency over what's happening in the network, then you could benefit from Antithesis. Yeah, you're right. That's a very good catch, Carl.
A second question. So have any of the other non-Cardano node software you tested found any critical bugs?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
Well, actually, the first time we ran Amaru Antithesis, we found the bug, but we knew it was there. So
at least it still works.
Huh?
At least Antithesis still works.
Yeah, but the problem is that we can't. I mean, we are close to being able to run it in I would say seriously, in the sense like in a way that we expect to find unknown bugs, because obviously, as you know, you are well aware of. Our networking stack wasn't really up to the task, so we are not too far from it, at least for basic use cases. And we expect to find interesting bugs. I'm pretty sure we'll find them at least for Amaru. For the others, it's the reality that we are a bit ahead of the curve with Antithesis, and because we use a Cardano node which has been in production for years, we didn't find that many bugs. Thanks to your effort, we found some still. So I think it's valuable. But other projects are not yet or getting closer to the maturity needed to be able to run in a harsh environment like Antithesis. But
And let's say that until you find bugs without Antithesis, you don't need Antithesis.
Yeah, that's also true. That's true.
Thanks for the answer.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the question, Carl. And thanks for your initial help, by the way.
I do have one more before you wrap up then. So if anyone wants to reach out to you guys for contributing or asking questions or so on, what's the best way?
I would say so for contributing the repository, obviously. So we are on GitHub. For more discussions or chat, we are those days mostly focusing on the node diversity channel in the Cardano scaling Discord server. So I could share the link in the chat. And the reason why is because so we don't have yet really a dedicated channel anywhere. For the reason being that we have been doing this work, well, mostly under the radar so far, but also mostly within the node diversity community, so to speak, which is a small group of people and which is hosted on this Discord server. I think as we get into 2026 and we get closer to potentially mainnet usage, and assuming we sort out the planning and the strategic issues around how to move forward with this project, we definitely want to provide a dedicated channel somewhere, potentially in the foundation Discord server or elsewhere. Yeah, not sure.
Right. So if there is no more question, I would like to wrap up the session. Thank you, the team. Thank you so much for the great presentation. It was a pleasure to have you here today. And to thank everyone also for participating. And if you guys have any question, you don't know how to reach out to the HAL team, how to ask your questions, and so on. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks to you.
Great weekend, and just see you next session. Take care.
Have a good way. And bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good weekend.